Hello humans, Master DinnerFlax here, bringing you the low quality content you deserve, and today we'll be going over yet another custom deck review. Yay! And unfortunately, this is a Weeb one. Now, to put it bluntly, every time I see a anime weeboo deck, it always has so many flaws, whether it's horrible problem solving card text, absolutely broken effects, or it's just like there's 45 cards in this archetype. Like weeboo decks in customs are some of the worst because they usually come with 100 flaws in addition, and then their artwork is usually weeby or just kind of weird. Which weeby itself isn't weird, but when it gets to like barely dressed little girls, that's just weird. And I don't like that. It's like the art you choose sometimes can have a big effect on the deck you're playing, and if it's like one of those like this weirdo at locals is bringing these like little girl card sleeves, it doesn't it's not right. Something's wrong with that. So, as you can tell, I am kind of upset by the art theme, but we're not going to let that affect us too much. So let's get into it. Dreamwalkers. Dreamwalker Hana. If this card is normal summoned, you can send one Dreamwalker card from your deck to the graveyard. You can banish this card from your graveyard, then send one face-up Dreamwalker card you control to the graveyard. Add one Dreamwalker card from your graveyard to your hand. You can only use this effect once per turn. Not only does this have great problem-solving card text, this isn't ridiculous. Like, this is actually a pretty balanced, that's actually a pretty balanced effect. Now, depending on what the rest do, this could actually be insane. But, it is all -1s in theories that pay for themselves to a 1-for-1. So I really like this. I think this is pretty interesting. Dreamwalker name. If this card is normal summoned, you can immediately, after this effect resolves, normal summon one Dreamwalker monster from your hand, except herself. You can banish this card from your graveyard, then send one face-up Dreamwalker card you control to the graveyard. Add one Dreamwalker monster from your deck to your hand. Yeah, this is still fine. I would, change the artwork here, but there's not much you can do about it at this point. So yeah, this is fine. Let's see what's next. Dreamwalker, another name. When this card is normal summoned, you can set one Dreamwalker continuous spell directly from your deck. You can banish this card from your graveyard, then send a face-up Dreamwalker card. Add one Dreamwalker continuous spell from your deck to your deck to your hand. Yep, it just kind of does the same thing. It's a little odd. See, like these two, like their effects in the graveyard are kind of different, or like they're kind of different from the ones you have here. They're kind of like in the same theme, but like how do I put it? This one is just two of the same effect, which I've like these two are different, so it kind of gives you a different toolbox. I would much rather you like put something else here, because otherwise it's just two of the same effect. It's a like nitpick. It's not really that bad, but it would be kind of interesting to see it have a different effect for the second half. Dreamwalker, whatever. If this card is normal summoned, you can target one face-up Dreamwalker card, turn it to your hand, and if you do, destroy one card on the field. I'm gonna stop you right there. So here's the problem with normal summons. So non-targeting removal is fine on monsters that take more than a normal summon to use. Non-targeting removal is substantially more finite in Yu-Gi-Oh! So putting it on a normal summon is ignorant. I'm just gonna tell you that right now. You should say target one face-up Dreamwalker card and one other card on the field. Return the first target to the hand, and if you do, destroy the second target. This needs to target. I don't care that there are effects in the game that don't target. they're put on like synchros, XCs, or high level links. They're not put on normal summons. That's not how that works. It doesn't work that way. And even when it does, it's because it's like 3-card combos. So yeah, to remove it not targeting. That's dumb. It really is dumb. It's kind of a thing I see a lot of flaws too, is your normal summon should always target unless it had a specific setup to go through, and that's not a specific setup. What, you're resetting a continuous spell? That's not setup. So make it target. I don't care. And I would actually make it target something specific, not just card. I would say monster or spell or trap your opponent controls. And if anything, I would have it both return to the hand rather than destroy, because compulsing is a little more universal on this. So let's see what this other effect is. You can banish this card from your graveyard, then send one face-up Dreamwalker card you control to the graveyard. Set one Dreamwalker spell from your graveyard to your side of the field, but it cannot be activated to turn to set. Second part's fine. The first part, make it target. I legitimately do not care about any reasoning why it doesn't. I don't care that there are targeting immune cards. I don't care that there are cards that don't target but remove. Those cards are not normal summons. So this being a normal summon doing it is dumb. So let's go to the final one. Dreamwalker, whatever. If this card's normal summon, you can target one Dreamwalker monster in your graveyard. Special summon that card and face up defense. So this one's odd because you've already shown that these cards, they don't stay in the graveyard. What's its level and attack? So what you actually could do, let me read the second part of its effect. So while this card's in your graveyard, blah 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 blah. Quick effect. You can special summon this face up from your hand. If you do, return one card you control the hand. No. So you shouldn't. That's really abusable. It bouncing any card is very abusable. I would just say, but banish it when it leaves the field. And I'll explain this. When it says if this card should be normal summoned, it shouldn't target the graveyard. None of your stuff stays in the graveyard. What I would do instead is I would say you can target one of your banished Dreamwalker monsters because all your stuff banishes itself. Even if like it needs another card to do it, all your stuff like wants to Mizuki itself. So I would much rather it say banished than in the graveyard. And the second effect, don't have it just bounce any card. That's dumb, that's abusable, that's loopy. You can abuse this with so many like equip spells and crap like that, especially like DDR in a deck like this. Just have it, but banish itself when it leaves the field. That would be much more balanced, and it would make much more sense since all this stuff likes to banish itself. Which, hold on. Well, it's also weird because this is the only one that doesn't banish itself from the graveyard, so it definitely needs that clause. Alright, Dreamwalker, Bright Knight. You can only control one. When this card is activated, you can send one Dreamwalker monster from your deck to your graveyard. Yeah, that's fine. It's kind of like a one-card second effect for these, so that's alright. Dreamwalker, Glow City. Activate one of the following effects. Activate one Dreamwalker, normal summon. This turn, Dreamwalker cannot be negated. I would remove that third one. The third one is pretty dumb. Your opponent just not being able to respond to you is stupid. That defeats the purpose of Yu-Gi-Oh! Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a two-player game. If you're going to have a card that's searchable in your deck that says, you cannot interact with me, you are playing something degenerate, so just remove that third clause. If you want to replace it with something like a Destiny draw effect, that would even be more fair than this. Like, this needs to be deleted. Festival. You can only control, when this card is activated, you can add one Dreamwalker monster from your graveyard to your hand. Again, it's graveyard recycling. You need banished recycling, especially since these guys get their effects from normal summoning. Like, target one of your banished Dreamwalkers, add it to your hand. Like, your graveyard is not really that much of a resource, but Yeah, it's weird. I feel like you focused a lot on the graveyard, even though your monsters. Like, why would you ever add a Mizuki from your graveyard to your hand? It's less valuable in your hand than it is in the graveyard. So that's how I feel about this. Like, your cards like this, they need to recur your banished stuff, not your graveyard stuff. Your graveyard stuff wants to be there. Dreamwalker Gifted. You can only control one. All Dreamwalkers you control gain 300 attack and defense and cannot be destroyed by card effects. That's a little dumb. That is a little dumb. Yeah, I would say if you're going to have and cannot be destroyed by card effects, make it to where you can also only control one of it. Because having multiples makes it really tricky to deal with a board. So I would just put the clause, you can also only control one Dreamwalker Gifted. Everything else is fine. Dreamwalker Parade, you can only control one Dreamwalker Parade during your main phase. You can normal. This, literally delete this. Delete this. You have already 2 different cards that give your cards additional normal summons. Delete this. Like, you legitimately need to delete this card. It has no business in here. You already have 2 cards that do the exact same. So it's either overkill or redundancy. You need to delete this. There is no business this card being in the deck. I wouldn't even replace it with anything. You already have almost everything you need for this deck. So just delete this. Dreamwalker Reunion. Once per turn, you can target 3 Dreamwalker cards. Okay, Dreamwalker cards in your graveyard. Shuffle them into the deck. Draw 1 card. This is fine because this allows you to grind with your spells and traps. So this is okay. For the fusions, even though I didn't see a polymerization, must first be special summoned by sending the above cards you control to the graveyard. You do not use polymerization. That's fine. What's its stats? Okay, that's all right. During your opponent's turn, okay. During your opponent's turn, you can target 1 card on the field. Return both this card and that target to your hand. This is fine. It's just compulse. It's a -1 compulse that also minuses your opponent. Well, that doesn't minus your opponent. It minuses itself on summon. It minuses itself to interrupt. But at the same time, like, this seems pretty easy to set up, so that's fine. The fact that it only takes 2 is... I would almost say this card is bad, but the fact that it's super easy to make, I think it is okay. Let's see what else. 1 Dreamwalker tuner monster, 1 or more non-tuner monsters. Can only control 1 of this. This card can attack all special summon monsters opponent controls once each. This card's attack, so you can make this card gain 100 attack for each card on the field until the next end phase. With 2,000. Yeah, that's fine. That's not really that broken. It's a going second card. I usually am more nice on going second cards. Dreamwalker Wall of Text. Alright, 2 level 2. How many level 2s are there? 4, 3, 3, 2, 2. That's kind of odd. Can only control... Well, I guess this one recurs stuff. So, you only control 1 whatever wall attacks. During your opponent's turn, you can detach 1 XYZ material from this card, then target 1 Dreamwalker monster in your graveyard. Add that target to your hand. Oh my god, this is... So this is the same thing as your normal summon, except this is also redundancy because I've said it 3 times now. Your stuff wants to be in the graveyard. Does this say monster? Yeah, it says monster. Make this say spell or trap, or just delete that effect. You have a lot of redundancy in this deck. You have too many effects that are the same thing. And the fact that this recurs your graveyard at all for any reason is pointless. Because all your stuff banishes itself. I don't get it. I seriously do not get it. Yeah. Alright, what's the rest effect? Then you can normal summon 1... Oh my god. You gotta be fucking kidding me. Are you serious? Oh my god, this is ridiculous. So you, in 1 card, you made your 3rd graveyard recursion, which is pointless, and your 4th normal summon again effect. I wouldn't remove this XZ because you clearly want it but literally delete, where is it? Delete all of this. Every single bit of it, delete that. That it's so pointless. You don't need 101 different ways to do the exact same thing in a deck. That's called redundancy. You just don't need it. It's pointless. I don't even care that all your cards get additional normal summons because they're all a strict type of normal summon. So even if you draw like one of this one and one of this one, or whichever one gave you the additional normal summons, you can only use one of them. You only get 2 normal summons still. So for the love of God, just delete it. Like this, the only one this kinda has is it allows you to normal summon on your opponent's turn. But that's, which one is it? The one I suggested you to change the non-targeting effect earlier. That's the only one that interrupts. Like that's the only difference this has. Like that's so, it's so redundant. So let me just finish reading this real quick. During your opponent's turn, when a Dreamwalker monster effect is activated, quick effect, you can add 1 Dreamwalker card from your deck to your hand. Oh my god, it's another searcher. Yeah, just actually delete all of this and come up with something different. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, this card has, all it has are effects that you already have. What's the point? There's no point to this card, especially since it requires 2 specific of your archetype monsters. This should do something very interesting. Like, it should, I don't know, something else. But this is definitely not it. So, this one, oh, man. This is why I don't like Weeb archetypes, because there's just so many things wrong with them. And this is the thing. This is the best Weeb archetype I've gotten yet. And this still just has problems all over it. 2 Dreamwalker monsters. You can only control 1. When this card is link summoned, you can set 1 Dreamwalker spell directly from your deck to your graveyard to your side of the field. When your opponent activates a card while this is face up on that field, you can target 1 Dreamwalker card you control, negate the act. Motherfucker, are you serious? You gave a link 2 with 2000 attack, Omni negation. Delete this. Actually, no. You know what? This part is fine. Everything else needs to be deleted. Like, if you want negation, this needs to be a link 4. This needs to require 4 monsters for you to get that. 4 Dreamwalker monsters, or I guess 3 plus Dreamwalker monsters. Oh, I guess this is only link, so yeah. It'd have to be a link 4 Dreamwalker. Because you are not making a link 2 with Omni negation. That is ignorant. That is absolutely ignorant. So, I guess we're done with the archetype. What would I give this? I give this, you tried, but you lived in your own bubble when trying, which is the problem with most custom archetypes. You forgot to keep in mind some basic stuff. You just flooded all your effects with redundancies. You didn't give this a theme except the Graveyard Banish. That's the theme you need to focus on. You don't need Omni negation as your link 2. You don't need 5 different normal summons. You literally don't need Graveyard Recursion. You just, like, you looked at your theme and just disregarded it. Especially since, like, this theme is actually kind of interesting. Because they give themselves continuous spells, which you can then use to fuel a different effect they have in the graveyard, which is actually kind of cool. Like, it's interesting. But you didn't use that at all. You're so focused on the normal summon part of it, which is the less interesting part of it, that you just filled your deck with redundancies or ignorances. Like, this is an ignorance. This is not what needs to be on a link 2. So, yep, that's about it. Thank you all for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed me just tearing into some Weeb shit, because I am... They always have problems. Like, you're so proud of, like, your, like, Google image of, like, anime girls that you forget to realize you're still making a custom deck, and you still gotta, like, keep in mind what you're making. So, yep, that's about it. Thank you all for watching, and remember, Master DinnerFlax will take your soul.